Hello, welcome to True Hoop with me, Jarod, Hector, and Coach David Thorpe. How are you, sir?
I'm golden. How are you?
Golden. Yes, nice segue there, David. Team USA men and women both won the gold medal at the recently concluded Summer Olympics in Paris. This was Team USA men's 5th gold medal, 5-on-5 basketball we're talking about, of course, and the Team USA women's 8th consecutive gold medal. Again, just historically what these programs have done in this competition, of course, unmatched by any team in the world. Just really, really outstanding, and kudos, great stuff. We're going to focus on the men primarily, obviously, but do want to shout out the ladies again for their 8th consecutive gold medal game. And oddly enough, both games were against France. In France. Just
not so oddly being the home court advantage. Is there any sport America dominates in anything like they do men's and women's basketball?
Not that I could think of off the top of my head. That everybody else in the world plays. No, I can't think of off the top of my head.
Even if they don't, what sport do we? It ain't judo. It's not ping pong. It's not downhill skiing.
As good as we are in swimming, it's not really swimming either. Like, it's not, because Australia's really good. Like, it's,
Yeah, America does well in track and field and swimming.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
But I don't think they dominate like they do in those two sports.
Correct.
I don't think.
Correct.
And I don't know. It's not hockey. I'm thinking of field hockey. No handball. No.
Nope.
Think of the Winter Olympics. There's nothing.
Nothing
figure skating
there. Mm-hmm.
I think they're probably pretty good, but I don't really pay attention to that sport.
We don't dominate that for sure.
Gymnastics has been dominating recently,
but not
small bowels is pretty amazing,
right? But not historically. No.
Yeah.
A lot of the Eastern European countries early on were really, and the Asian countries lately. But no, basketball, that's what we're very good at. And Team USA, again, outstanding. David, remember, when was it? I think it was during the group stage. I said to you, I'm not worried about Steph Curry's offense. It'll come around. But I was worried about his defense. And you're like, well, I'm worried about both. Well, turns out, offense, just fine. In the semifinal and final game, do you know what he shot from three-point land combined over those two games?
I want to say it was 17 for 25, but I don't know.
17 to 26. That's correct.
26, okay, yeah.
Which is outstanding.
No. He left outstanding a while ago. Outstanding was when we made 13. He was outstanding when we made 13. Those last four, what's better than outstanding? Best ever?
Well, yes, of course we know he's the best ever. That's
no, but I mean, that 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes. It wasn't even 2 minutes.
A minute 30, I think. 90 seconds. I think.
Is that what it was?
I think it was 90 seconds.
It's the best shooting display in a real competitive basketball game in the history of the game.
Yeah.
Anywhere, any place, anytime. There's never been a better example of it. When you consider the moment, the opponent, where the tournament was, which is Paris, of course. You think of the historic city of Paris and the fans and what it meant. By the way, of the four, the most important one was the first one.
Of course.
Because the others all came up 6. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first one came only up 3, bleeding from every orifice, basically.
And the
we
last
were fucking terrible.
The last one he said, I was exhausted. Threw it up.
It was a terrible shot. It was a terrible shot, but if he misses, we're up 6 with 50 to play.
Correct.
With 98% chance to win. That team is.
But also,
99% chance to win, maybe.
When the greatest shooter throws up a ball like that, yes, terrible shot. But for him, the percentages are they are 100% more higher than anybody else throwing up that shot, just because that's something we've seen him do before.
Listen, we could break it down. It was a bad shot, but it was Steph Curry taking a bad
Correct.
shot. So bad in lowercase letters.
Correct.
Italicized. Like, it's not that bad because he just made 3 straight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm whoever was working on the latest rendition of the hot hand theory isn't real is crumpling up that paper right now. I've always contended that it's very hard to measure this hot hand thing.
Right.
I've always because you can't get into the player's psyche. Then every shot isn't created the same just based on distance and who's guarding you. There's more to it than that, although those things matter too, that the study doesn't always account for.
Right.
But the reason why the hot hand isn't as common as what we think it is because players take shots like that too often.
Correct.
Steph is just a different breed.
Correct.
And when he shot it, did you think it was going in? I wasn't sure. I didn't know if any of those 4 were going in.
No, but I mean, again, to your point, if it was, and this is so unfair.
Anyone else, Devin Booker, whoever, Drew Holiday.
This is unfair to them because I'm not saying they're bad basketball players, and I'm not even going to use this player because it's going to sound like I'm piling on. I'm going to use another one instead. If it was Booker, yeah, I'd be like, ooh, I don't know. But because it was him, I was like, maybe, like, like, it might, and I think that's the best you can hope for in that scenario. David, it's just it is uncanny, sort of what we witnessed in that game. We talk about how, and we say all the time, players aren't robots, right? Mistakes happen. You always laugh. You're like, those thing is rookie mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. The idea is, if you're older, you hope because of your experience, you will make less. And usually that bears out. You generally tend to make less. But between Steph and LeBron, 10 turnovers between the two of them in a gold medal game.
I just, for the third time, because I saw it live, then yesterday I watched the fourth quarter, America's Possessions. And then an hour ago, I watched the fourth quarter, America's Possessions. We were bleeding from every orifice. We were fucking a disaster. Steph throws the pick six. They only turned out to be 1 point. LeBron fumbles ball out of bounds, driving a pick and roll. He rolled. AD drops a pass. LeBron throws a pass directly to KD out of bounds. Out the inbounds play, baseline inbounds. He threw it right into the corner.
Yep.
Like, we were fucking terrible. And it's delightful that we were, because that only helps bookmark or highlight, frame what Curry did. Because the most important three was the first one. Not only was that the one that came when it's only a 3-point game, after we've been up 11 in the fourth, this would have been a colossal blunder, a colossal letdown. Curry makes that three, and with his hands, settle down, everyone. Like, we're okay. The next one he makes is, don't worry about me.
Right.
But the first one was settle down, and we never, I think we never led by less than 6 anymore after that. Because then Wemby missed a three, and KD got fouled, so we went up 8. Because he got fouled on the rebounds. We're up 8. So, it was never closer than 3 after that. After that, Curry made that first of the 4 threes.
Yeah. Look, so again, we talked about Steph and LeBron making mistakes. We talked about Steph being great. We talked about the 3 guys, Steph, KD, and LeBron, the 3 players who have defined the last 20 years of NBA and world basketball. Just when we talk about the great players, I mean, these 3 have come up more times than often for a variety of reasons. MVPs, championships, all that stuff. The sequences of plays made late by those guys. Of course, Curry shots. The block Durant had at the rim on, I forget who it was, on France. The 3 you mentioned, the foul to get the 2 free throws, right? All those little moments where we're like, woo, because the game
3-2.
The game was tight.
Also.
We were like, but this is what we talked about though, David, right? If you're going to upset this collection of Team USA, this is your recipe. They turned the ball over a ton, and France didn't even shoot the 3-ball well. They shot it poorly, but you'd have them turn the ball over a ton, which they did, and you have it be a tight game with 2 minutes, 3 minutes to go. And that's exactly what it was. So the game was in the balance that France could have won for sure.
All right, so a couple of things. One is, I think it was Thursday, I said there's no guarantee Curry's going to have a great game. I think I was quoting somebody talking about Curry game is coming. I said maybe.
Right.
I said I like the chances. I believe if you go back and watch it, I listened to it, I think I said I like the chances, but there's no guarantee. And that's the point I want to make. People are talking about France in 4 years when Wemby could be, at that point, the best player in the world among top 3. He's not top 10, top 20 now. He's not top 50 now. But
if you look at EPM, he's close. Is
he? Because his defense is so astounding.
So good.
His defense is so astounding. But it's less of a factor in FIBA because more people are good in FIBA because the game is more constricted. So his ability in the wide open NBA game is more valuable in that game than you could be 7 feet tall, not 7'4", and have a similar impact because everything's so crunched in together. But Wemby's quote is he worries about his future opponents. Which I just, who knows in translation how that really works anyway, right?
It's always, this stuff's always taken one line. It's like, what was the whole, his whole answer?
No, Wemby's, I love Wemby. So, my son told me he's his favorite player in the league, which I was surprised at. But the message I want to give to Wemby is you still got to do it, buddy. Like, you can talk all you want. Those 3 cats who I think you're right. I think they're over the course of the last 15 or so years, obviously, for LeBron, it's longer. They're the 3 most important NBA players. They're the 3 best NBA players we've had in that stretch of time. Top 3. Dwayne Wade is very close. He started 21 years ago, Dwayne Wade. I think he's right there, too. Obviously, Kobe
Right.
Wasn't there nearly as long because his prime was earlier than that. But I think those three. And in the fourth quarter, it was really Steph and a little bit of KD. LeBron got us there. He was the MVP of the tournament.
Right.
Curry was the MVP of the Final Four, in my opinion. You still got to do it. And there's no guarantee because we just proved it. Team USA was so fucking bad in the fourth quarter until 2.5 to go when Curry made that first three. We hit some threes. Drew Holiday hit a three. KD hit a three. Book made a nice pass. AD got a nice dunk off of a Durant corner miss. But we were very bad offensively, especially. Just because you're talented, Wemby, and the rest of France or whatever, you still got to do it. And the only thing I'll add is, and I hope I'm here in 4 years, Jarod. I hope we all are. But they're going to be playing the Olympics in LA, probably.
Sure.
I mean, it's 99% chance it's going to be there.
It's done. It's there.
What I mean is shit could happen, but let's assume it's going to be there.
Right.
And you're going to have to beat Team USA in LA.
Which will be hard, no doubt.
They got you in Paris. I got news for you. No one has anything on American fans. Our fans are just as fucking rabid and crazy. They don't throw batteries like they do in Greece, but they throw urine bombs.
Right.
I remember my mom got really mad. She went to a Gator LSU game once and was so offended at the way people were talking to her. You're wearing her Gator gear. I'm like, Mom, at our field, they throw urine bombs. Like college kids go in the locker room, fill up a Ziploc bag. Yeah, like that's in Gainesville. I didn't do it, but I know people who did. And I didn't really get mad at them for it. I just wasn't going to be the one doing it. But our fans are fucking crazy. So you're going to have to beat Team USA in their dojo.
No doubt.
Like we had to beat you in yours.
No doubt. And it was, and to be fair, the French fans were not hurling or throwing anything. But
no, they were. I didn't think they were so loud. People said they were really loud though. But
I couldn't tell because I didn't have like my sound, like I didn't have like the sound bar on and all that. I had the normal.
And there's
TV
American fans there too, so it wasn't just French fans.
Of course,
we had a lot of American fans.
We also had a lot of celebrities there, which tend to, how loud do those people get? Whatever.
But there was a lot of American fans, Jarod, because there's a couple angles from the floor when Curry makes the last three and good night, and LeBron's doing good night on the other side. There was a lot of American flags, like thousands, and also, to be fair, the French were dying for France to win, but they like Curry and LeBron and those guys too. Like they were like, it wasn't like they were playing England,
right?
Or Spain. Like I heard the soccer game was unbelievable.
It was crazy.
23. I didn't see it. I saw the first goal and that was it. But I think LA is going to be fucking nuts.
Yeah,
and there's no reason to think our team won't be fucking phenomenal. No reason to think that.
And we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. So again, and those three players, Steph, KD, LeBron, they were the top three scorers for the team. Also, no surprise there.
Oh yeah,
yep. Yeah. Played the most minutes. I think Durant finished 1 in plus minus, Curry 2, LeBron played 3, somewhere in that order. They were top 4 in plus minus. Again, the important players. And you saw when you watch a coach, David, coaches, it's like anybody else. They're human. When we're in stress moments or whatever, we do what is comfortable to us and what makes us feel secure. Well, in stress moments, those three were on the floor whenever Kurt felt stressful or this is a tight game for us. Those were the guys on the floor.
They have to be. But what I thought was interesting is 2 different times KD passed up what I thought was a clear shot to give the ball back to Curry after he made his first one. That's KD ain't doing it to Bradley Beal. I'm sorry.
No, but it's knowing the game, right? It's like, Steph's probably not going to hit that. And to your point, you said on our call this morning, it's when you play with these caliber of guys, that basketball IQ is so high. KD's also making the calculations. You said this morning, if he needs to get it back to me, he will.
He'll get it.
Right? I'll get it back.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. If he has to, and I'm here to get it. If he needs to get it back, and I'll shoot it. But now I'm going to give it to him. Boom, shoot.
I thought so too. I thought that's exactly what it was. Is he's just cooking. Yeah, KD, and you know what? Curry would do the same thing with KD if KD had made 3 straight. And LeBron.
Correct.
The point I made to you guys this morning is, as someone who does watch a lot of basketball, LeBron's on the left wing on Curry's last shot, and he's not doing which a lot of guys in the NBA do. He's just let the chef cook.
Yeah, let Chef Curry cook, and
if he throws it, he throws it. Yeah, if he passes, he passes it, but he didn't need to.
Correct. And it's also the confidence, right, in knowing that that's the guy shooting it. So I as a teammate, you're like, I feel good, right? Like I feel pretty good. We're confident in what we're doing here. And again, we were up, and if he misses, if we get the rebound, great.
Less than a minute. Like
if we don't,
98% chance to win.
We get back in guard on the other end, right? Like so.
Yeah, we drained the clock. We drained the clock, and which was good. They doubled Curry. I mean, France played terrible defense in a number of those possessions. You got to play 4-on-4 and just take Curry out. They just do. But hindsight's 2020, and we have Book, and we have AD, and we have LeBron, and we have KD in the other four. So I understand why they didn't want to play 4-on-4. It's a big advantage. KD's reaction to the fourth one, the other ones, he kind of did a pumper and and then played. When Curry made the fourth one, which basically ended the game, KD looked like kind of stunned for a minute, like, oh my God, that just happened. Like, that motherfucker. How many? I'm sure he's seen it so many times before.
Yep.
Just terrible shot, but it's Steph Curry.
Yeah. I mean, Kerr too, right? The Kerr of all people, probably going to go in, right? I've seen this.
Listen, I have to laugh. You know how I feel about the average fan anyway, but the hatred Steve Kerr gets. The guy's got 4 rings.
Yeah.
2 with KD only. The other 2 didn't have KD. And then another year, they had the winningest team of all time, and then just had some injuries and bad luck in LeBron. And Kyrie
LeBron was so good in that final.
Yeah, incredible. So and now he's got a gold medal. I thought he did a great job. I thought that he took when he said I feel stupid not playing Jason Tatum. He's just being nice.
Right? Yeah.
Like they did the math. Sometimes the matchups aren't great with this roster, and you just got to suck it up and you just got to fucking play. Quit being panicky about it. Quit complaining. I saw one fan. I may have sent it to you guys. Like, he was a Celtic fan. I'm rooting for Team USA to lose to France because Tatum. Like, you're just call yourself a fanboy, all right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Silly.
You're not. We're trying to win a game here.
Exactly.
All Kerr was trying to do is win a game.
Correct.
And if Tatum wants to take it on him during the season, all right. I helped you win a gold.
Right.
I'm just trying to win a gold. I did the best.
Correct.
That's my job. You did yours. I did mine.
And I think Tatum was fine. Like he was a good teammate. Like, engaged the whole nine. Like, this was a nothing burger. We'll get back to that in a second. What I want to talk about though, David, is the loss. France gets silver 2 years in a row, or 2 Olympics in a row. So they lost the gold medal game in 2020 as well. What I love about Wemby so much, David, is how much he cares about basketball being good and winning. Like, it meant, and I mean, he doesn't cry in the NBA all the time because it's 82 games. But when they lose, I've watched enough Spurs games. He's not a happy camper, like, at all. And this matters to him, and he wants to be good and so good. And he showed a wonderful moment with KD, who he's said a million times is the guy who he watched growing up, and he would watch some models game after, right? Tall, skinny dude. It's like a common thing that people always do. And they showed a lengthy conversation in a post game, and I thought it was great. And you had what you thought might have been some insight, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything I did not know. It makes sense that he worshipped and admired KD. I did. If I knew it, I forgot it because I'm an old man. But when I saw them hugging the moment, I had no idea what was happening. Just reading Durant's lips, I saw him one time say, "I got you." Another time, "We got you." I think Wemby was saying basically, I want to be like you guys are. The way you guys love this game, I want to be great like you. And I don't think it was just on my KD. I think it's because I saw KD say, "We got you." Your generation inspired me to play basketball and helped me fall in love with basketball. And please help me be as great as you guys are. And I'm guessing he said that when I saw Durant say, "I got you." And you could see KD was moved in a different way. His reaction, I've watched a lot of those hugs. It was really, I think, really personal and vulnerable with Wemby just saying, "Help me."
Yep.
And but man, that's all you got to do to those guys.
Oh,
if you come in humble to a star like that, there's nothing they won't do for you.
I mean, anybody who knows anything about KD and basketball is all this dude lives for and cares about. And anybody who cares about the game like that is like it's like Edwards. That's like fucking catnip for KD's like, yes, okay, my guy, I love you and embrace you immediately. And I was joking to you in our chat. I was like, I would love for them to work out together, right? Just like, because if he wants to be great, like, it's legendary. All those guys, how they work out, just come and work out with them and watch how they go, right? Everything is with purpose. We talked about this on our last call when David has a plan for players when they're working out in the offseason. Well, it's the same for these elite dudes. They don't show up to a gym and just throw up shots and just dick around and do whatever. Everything's hard.
What did Kerr say about Curry? I think he called him like a metronome.
Yeah.
Like he's always, and that's I mean, I have a player who's flying overseas. Well, he flew overseas a couple of days ago, and not charter because it was a long flight. And he's bringing his physio with him, and one of his agents is going, and a basketball coach to work him out every day, because I had to be in touch with the coach as to what to do with the player, clips and notes and whatever. Because while he's in a foreign country working, I think it's more foundational stuff, not a vacation. He's got to work on his game because it's August.
Yep.
Season starts, the camp starts in a month. So a month or so. So a month and a half. Well, that camp, but they pick up with their team every day. Yeah, you got to put in the work all the time. There's no guarantee for success in any one game. But the fact that America's got 5 golds in a row, and the FIBA game, and I'm writing about this, it's hard to have that margin because it's football, it's rugby.
Yep.
It's not basketball like we see in the NBA at all. And so games are just going to be tighter, not to mention the court's different in the 40 minutes, not 48. Yep. So it's built to be more competitive. And yet you still find ways. We know this to be true. In coin flip games, everyone's about 50-50. And yet we've got 5 straight goals in plenty of close games. So that tells you something about the talent disparity between us and everyone else still.
Yeah. I think too, a lot of fans, David, they have 92 and 96 in their minds, especially the 92 team when we showed up in Barcelona and dump trucked everybody by 30 to 40. I'm like, guys, that ain't the thing now. Like, that's not, like, maybe some early rounds.
It'll never be the thing.
You'll beat, so like, who do we beat by, you might beat Serbia, who's just playing it easy in that first group game by 25 or whatever, a few of those. But in these elimination games in the medal round, none of that's happening. I mean, barring major catastrophic injury, whatever.
Right. They've got high level coaches. They've got
and NBA players.
Right. Well, that goes without saying. They don't have our budget. I think I told you Team Canada flew when they played in Vegas. Maybe I didn't tell you this.
Oh yeah, they stayed at like a crap hotel, basically. Like,
no, I don't remember where they stayed. It wasn't a crap hotel, but it wasn't anything great. Oh, they stayed at Vidara.
Right, but it wasn't where the Team USA
that wasn't. Yeah, that wasn't even the issue because Vidara is actually fine. They flew on a charter plane that the player told me was the equivalent of JetBlue.
Oh.
And JetBlue has changed. It used to be, I thought, a little better. Now it's bare bones. It's just fine. It gets you to point A, point B.
Right.
I don't care. It's not fancy.
Most leg room and coach. By the way, not a sponsorship. JetBlue, if you want to give us money, fine. But we're not sponsoring you here.
Is that right? Is it the most leg room?
That's their accurate, yeah. Most leg room.
I didn't know. I took it to the Dominican Republic. It wasn't so great. But anyway, it wasn't terrible or anything. But he basically said it was a metal bench chairs, seats with very little leg room, 2 in a row. This ain't Team USA.
Right.
Everyone's got their own suite kind of thing.
Right.
This is the rest of the world doesn't have what we have for that, for sure. But they do have high level coaching, some scouting, NBA players, the whole thing. We're never going to run roughshod. In fact, at any level, we'll be better at under 23 and under 21. They don't do under 23. Under 18, Team USA tends to win a lot, but not every time.
Right.
And look at France just had number 1 and number 2 this year. And Koulibaly was drafted in the lottery last year, and he played in this game. They've got talented young players too. They do.
And again, shout out to Team France, an excellent tournament. Wemby had a really good game, 3 of 8 from 3. Man, if he made that late 3, woo, it might have got a little tighter and dicier if that 3 went in. But again, a good learning lesson for a young man who we both think cares and wants to be good and will certainly work. We'll see if the plan and all the different things are there, and he gets to become what we think, which is one of the all-time greats, assuming health and all that. Okay, looking ahead, everyone's thinking about 2028. You mentioned it before. It's going to be in LA. Okay, his team is going to lose the gold in 2028, all these different kinds of things. I said it before, David. We can no longer automatically assume we will have the best player in the world from America. That's just not going to happen every year. Sometimes we might, but as of right now, we do not. But 2 through 12, which is a 12-man roster, we're just going to be overwhelmingly better because everybody 2 through 12 will be an NBA player, and in our case, the star or one of the stars of their teams. But when you're constructing a team, is that the exact best thing to have? And we talked about it on our call this morning. Why is Serbia with Nikola Jokic, obviously the world's best player, 3-time MVP, and Bojan Bogdanovic, who is a starting level NBA player,
legit player,
but 3 through 12, good players, but they're not Devin Booker. They're not those guys. But and they were, I mean, listen, things went a little different. That is a game they could have clearly won and beaten us, if not for Steph Curry heroics. So is that maybe a model, David, we can think about where maybe we say, okay, we go with, and you figure out positionally what you want. You want it to be a big, you want it to be a wing, guard, whatever. We get like 4 alpha dudes, and then we fill out the rest of the roster, 5 through 12, with a bunch of Derek Whites and Drew Holiday types in various, heights, sizes, and all that stuff.
I mean, that's how you build a team. I think that's why we do what we do. I don't know who was left. We could do this. Who was not on the team that would be considered, an elite scorer that's American? Like, who might it be?
Brunson, Jaylen Brown.
Brunson played. Yeah, Jaylen Brown probably because of the Nike thing.
Mm-hmm.
Brunson played last year in the World Championship.
Yes, he did. Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's a great fit. And a defensive liability.
Yes.
So I think that's really what we have to do. Is if you're USA, you look at the 20 best players in the league that are qualified
that are American.
America.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And you check off 4, 5, 6, 8 like definite guys,
mm-hmm.
and then you build around those guys. And you have to have primary ball handlers,
of course.
You have to have defensive guys for those primary ball handlers.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to guard the other team's really talented big
mm-hmm.
and guard the other team's really talented wing. And that's more or less what America had to build for. And you're not going to necessarily get your 10 best scorers or even best EPM
Correct.
guys,
right?
Because you're going to have some specialists. I think that's why Derek White was added.
Mm-hmm.
Who did he replace? Kawhi.
Yes, Kawhi. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Kawhi left.
Yeah.
Kawhi would have been the wing stopper.
Mm-hmm.
He would have been our best wing stopper if he was healthy.
Right.
Which I don't think he was. He wasn't
Correct.
playing very well, I heard. So yeah, in 4 years, I'm sure we'll do the same. I don't know what that team's going to look like. It's kind of silly. Some of these people are like, I don't know what some of these guys are going to look like in 4 years. How would you know? We could guess. We don't have to guess. They'll make that team in 3 years.
For sure. Well, one of the things I think they should think about too, David, and I know it's hard because the NBA season is long, a lot of games. We don't know who's going to get injured in the future. I think one of the things they need to go back to is that 4-year commitment. And I know it's hard to commit yourself for 4 years. I get that. It's a difficult, you don't know what the fuck you're going to be doing next summer or the summer after that. Who knows? But to get the continuity of what it's like to play with one another, and this is the system we run. When it's tied, and we know what play we're running every time out of the inbounds or whatever our little handbook of things that we do. Just so there's that familiarity that we did back in the day when Coach K took over, right? Those guys got into a pool, and you had players like Kobe and LeBron playing the FIBA Americas, which is then called the FIBA Americas back then. You get them to play in those games, and then they play in World Cup, and then they play in the Olympics, right? So it's all right. This is the continuity. I don't know if guys want to commit to that, but I think that's something we should think about doing as well, is getting back to that 4-year commitment, and same with the head coach and the coaching staff, whoever it's going to be. Hard, I know, because we have a lot of commitments, but that would help.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially knowing you're going to play in LA and everything. I could see people wanting to sign up for it. I've only thought about one. There probably is more than this, but I've only thought of one player separate from the obvious guys that were on this team that aren't KD, LeBron, and Steph.
Right.
Maybe AD, aged out at that point.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was fabulous.
Defensively, so good.
Booker should be on the team if you want.
Well, there we go. So Booker's a perfect example, David. Not to cut you off. He's someone who on his team in Phoenix is an alpha.
Yeah.
But on this team, what did he do? I'm going to pick up and guard further out. So if guys are willing to do that, then you're fine. But how many guys who are alphas on their team are willing to be like, I'm not going to be an alpha on this team. I'm going to move the ball. I'm going to hit an open three when it's team. I'm going to guard.
That's what we were afraid Edwards wouldn't be that way. He had no problem doing it.
Correct.
He won't have to worry about that in 4 years, I don't think.
I don't think so either.
We project him to be our starting two. I give Booker was one of my unsung MVP. Him and AD both I thought were huge. Booker as a starter, AD off the bench. There's one guy, and you'll never guess, and I wouldn't even ask you to try to guess, that I think we should already start getting involved with Team USA stuff, as you're saying, 4 years early, and that's Devin Vassell. He's like 23 years old now, so he'll be right in his prime. He's a two-way player, and this is why I'm saying this, I just think he'll know Wemby better than anybody.
That's a good point.
I do, and so he's going to be a factor.
Good point.
Wemby is projecting to be that guy in 4 years. And I'd like to, I don't really care who wins these games. Although I did find myself rooting for America, probably because I fucking hate the French. Yeah, that's a whole separate thing. I don't hate French people. I just don't like the French. It's a whole other thing. So I think that Wemby is going to be he's just going to be a real issue. And
be 24, David, in 2028.
Yeah, right. Amazing. Any advantage you can get, and those two guys are going to play a lot of games together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd like to have Devin.
Yeah.
I'd like to have 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, 3 years it'll be because it won't be till next year. I don't know if there is anything next year. Qualifying for the World Championships, whatever.
Yeah. What is there? Maybe FIBA Americas is next year, maybe. Because there's definitely a tournament every year for sure. So something's going to be something next year.
I'm a real fan of his, and he's one of those guys that doesn't have to be the alpha.
Yeah.
So if he is great, it means he's really become a top player. I think it's possible that he could. He's very young. I think he was drafted at 19 after a couple years of college. But I think that he can be really terrific and be a star or not a star and not care.
Yeah.
Kind of Derek White-ish.
Yep.
Drew Holiday-ish. Yeah.
One of the things I was thinking about too, watching Team USA, it's because we had the older guys. We weren't so great, David, at attacking off the bounce and getting to the rim. This team, and I was like,
we passed beautifully though.
This is where a John Morant guy, I think, in the future.
I love John Morant,
assuming he's got his head on straight and everything's all good. Because who can stay in front of that dude? Right? He collapses the defense in a way that now I can spray out to.
Got to get a shot right.
Yes, for sure.
Got to get a shot right. And then another name that jumped right away to me was Scotty Barnes.
I had him on our list. Yep.
Because Scotty is he's that wing. He's going to be able to guard wings.
Mm-hmm.
You can play him anywhere. You can go big. You can go small. It doesn't matter. He can do, he can play some 4 for us. He can play some 1 for us and go huge. I don't believe Cade Cunningham will get there, but I hope that he does. Because again, we can have a lot of 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" dudes. Chet is a no-brainer.
Oh yeah, forgot about Chet.
No-brainer. Yeah,
Jalen Suggs just for his defensive capabilities.
Sure. If he can really shoot the 3, and he and Chet played together growing up. So, but Chet to me is a no-brainer. So is J-Dub. Yeah,
I have him on my list. Jalen Williams,
young guys.
Jaren Jackson Jr. I think there's,
of course,
we got some guys.
Those guys aren't guaranteed to win anything because they haven't.
Correct.
Like it's fucking hard.
Yes,
it's hard. But that's why you have some of the guys from this team who we have. And who knows where Tyrese is in 4 years. Offensively, super gifted. But the Jaren Jackson Jr. is a no-brainer. Bam, I don't know. Bam is a possibility.
This is his second Olympics, so he might be like, I'm
really?
Good. We'll see where as a vet by this stage, he might be like,
but to play at home, though, the LA thing is no small thing.
No. And look, they're all going to, I think, want to be in it. So I think that, to your point, that's what they should capitalize on. Okay, it's in America. Everybody wants to stay in LA and do the whole thing. Got to commit. Get in the 4-year cycle, be in the pool, and we'll work from there. I think that's the time where Team USA can use that as their carrot, the carrot at the end of the stick. Like, okay, commit to the 4-year pool. And I think we can really have some success in 2028.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot.
All right, folks, we will be back after a brief commercial break. All right, David, watching Olympic basketball, you get to see a lot of stuff from, international players. And I don't know if you saw this, Dennis Schroeder said, European basketball is just straight IQ basketball. It's coaching and IQ basketball. It's like there's no entertainment value whatsoever. And then because he's Kevin Durant, tweeted or posted on one of his social media accounts with their gold medals, entertainment plus IQ with everybody with their
hilarious
with their gold medals. Because KD can't resist. But there is something to that, right, David? And you've said it before. It's because the talent level isn't as high, so they must be coached up in a way to maximize that, right? Cut, pass, move, all those different things. That's how they're able to keep pace with us. Otherwise, if they didn't, they'd get blown off the court. But that has to do with, I think, what you want to talk about, which is player development in Europe versus what we do here in America.
Yeah, I mean, I never really think one side necessarily is way better than the other. I can find fault with either side. I really want to bring it up today as a way to get into. We're going to be tracking this. If Troop's still around in 4 years, and we're still doing podcasts around in 4 years, I can just see us tracking this kind of stuff more and more. Of France had number 1, number 2 pick in the draft. Now, had those guys gone to college, I really think there could be some studies done that if these guys play over here, they drop because you're just seeing so much more. And we'll see. Nothing against the French, but name me the 5 most impactful French players the last 10 years.
Rudy,
There's just
Tony.
Last 10 years.
Rudy, yes. Yeah. Tony, am I still within 10?
Tony was at the end of it at that point. Tony, incredibly impactful, but it's on one hand.
Yeah.
And it's not that small of a country. To do well in FIBA requires something different than to do well over 82-game season in the very open court in the NBA, where you're actually not allowed to hit people with your forearm and not be called a foul.
Yep.
In FIBA, it's so different. It's just rugby. And I have my own philosophy as to why that is. But I think that our game is evolving towards a more tactical one anyway. And I thought Team USA had their worst game of the tournament in the last game. France has something to do with that for sure. I think fatigue had most to do with it, but we played off the ball way better than I've ever seen us play before. We weren't nearly as on-ball centric as we were in the last game and as we do in the NBA more, because we had to move the ball more. The game is just more compact. And so I'm really proud of our guys for being able to do that, like the Warriors do, like the Pacers do.
Yep.
We've talked about this before. The rest of the world, I mean, not the rest of the world, Canada didn't do this.
No.
A lot of European teams play very tactically, a lot of ball movement, a lot of screening, go screens, veer screens, all sorts of DHOs and cuts and stacking actions the way the Pacers stack actions. So that can start at a younger age group. I don't think our younger divisions do that so well, AAU or high school. I'd like to see us do that more. And but the one thing about American players is we've always been the toughest in the world, and there's exceptions. Lithuania is tough. Serbia is tough. I'm not suggesting they're tough. But I've worked camps in foreign countries, and I've coached lots of foreigners for all sorts of reasons. Our kids can be pushed harder for longer typically. It's a very general statement, but that's my general sense.
Experience.
At the highest level, I think it's all about the same, the most elite level. But one of the things about America is you don't have to be the best in your city at 14, and we'll find you at 20. It happens too often. We have a lot of low majors and mid majors that bubble up and bubble up and bubble up, and now they're in the NBA. That doesn't happen nearly as much over there. It may start happening. We don't label you as quickly. We brand you early. That's a good thing for you, but we're okay to brand you late. Now, you better get drafted. If you go undrafted, you're branded and you're kind of fucked. Our league does not do well. No. Once you're undrafted, it's really hard to ever be seen as something valuable, and that's a mistake. That's a bias at NBA teams.
Very sad.
Yeah, they can't get over it. But in general, before that point, you can. And now with transfer rules the way they are, you can be the undiscovered guy going low D1. 2 years later, you're starting for Carolina. Like that's going to start happening more and more. And that's really good for our Team USA talent pool.
Yes.
Because it's going to be a larger and larger pool of talent that we can look to pluck from.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think, again, anything we can do, because as you say all the time, there's so much talent all over the place in basketball. And again, teams, like, they do it to themselves in the NBA, right? I say all the time, like, you allow things like, oh, you weren't drafted to mean, in your brain, that means they're not good. And it's like, well, do your job. Like, if you watch them, you'll know they're good.
There's just a lower ceiling. They won't let you they won't green light you on shots or plays that allow you to grow out of your role. They just put you in a box and leave you there too often. We do that. Teams do that way too often. And I've said this many times. Steve Kerr unlocked the Warriors. Draymond Green never would have been this Draymond Green. Klay Thompson was a below average player his first 3 years. Steph Curry was a great shooter, never considered this kind of player. What Kerr unlocked with his offense, his Cuisinart, and the way they play defense, gave us the dynasty that it did.
Yeah. So, again, teams, think about it, right? Think more about what your players could potentially be, right? As opposed to what, the limit you think they have, right? And who knows where you can go from there. Right. So many examples of that all over the NBA. David, there was a proposed trade that you put in our chat today that somebody put out there. I never
do that.
And which I was like, what? David doesn't talk about proposed trades. He always thinks it's silly, but you thought it was worth commenting on this particular trade. And it involved the Hawks, I believe, and the Orlando Magic and Paolo Banchero. And I was like, what?
Yeah, but Paolo wasn't involved in the trade.
Okay.
The idea was to get Paolo another stud. The reason why I posted it is everyone is, in my world, they're all talking about what happens with Trey. And so we can start having the discussion of where can Trey go. There's not a lot of teams that can accept him.
Well, money for sure.
Money and defensive liabilities.
Huge.
But the Magic have this incredible defense.
They do.
And Suggs can play off the ball. He can guard your small ones, and you can put Trey on bad, taller twos. You're screwed if they have 5 really good players, but you're screwed either way in that situation.
Right.
But Suggs can make up for a lot, and they can absorb his defensive deficiencies. And he makes an immediate, huge boost to their offense. They got to find the deal that I gave you. Doesn't really matter. Wendell Carter Jr. was involved in it. But it doesn't have to be. There's other guys they can trade too. And Atlanta wouldn't even want him right now because they have Okongwu and Capella.
Right.
But that's probably going to change. But I like the idea of where does Trey go as a narrative going forward. Orlando is one of those teams that could absorb him and probably benefit from it.
Yeah, we've talked about Trey for a while. Obviously, we know gifted offensively, elite, but just so many liabilities on the other end of the floor.
Yeah.
So again, he has to play next to someone who's an elite defensive 2-guard, right? Who's got that? Okay, Orlando, you mentioned, and who could absorb the money, which is another problem because Trey makes a ton of money. And Orlando's probably one of the only ones who can do it. I know there was talk about him going to or potentially right, but I'm like they're not as good defensively. Yeah, Wemby, but I don't know that Vassell's the right second guy next to him. I don't think.
I do think Devin's pretty good, but they're nowhere near ready to contend.
Right.
And Orlando with Trey Young, you can make an argument they'll be top 10 in offense and defense. So there they are.
Yeah, I mean, Orlando got the second round last year, right? They won their first round series, didn't they? Or they lose their first round series?
They beat Cleveland.
They
beat Cleveland. Yeah. So, I think that it's in the realm of possibility. No, they lost to Cleveland in Game 7.
In Game 7, right? And here's the thing: if you're Atlanta, I know. Listen, they can say whatever they want publicly. I know internally they're all like, "Oh, how do we get off this Trey Young thing?" Right?
They definitely have talked to teams about him. I've talked to those teams. I don't think they're shopping him. I think they're open.
Right.
But they just drafted, number 1 pick overall, and he's not going to be able to help for years. And so I just think they're running something. They traded DeJounte.
Yep.
Right. Murray's gone.
Yep.
So where did he go again?
New Orleans. He's on the Pelicans.
Exactly. So, and that's why probably Orlando and Atlanta do it because they're competitors in the same division.
I mean, but
they probably don't want to mess with that shit.
Atlanta, you're not winning shit this year anyway. So.
I agree, but
But I like that though. Like, definitely, I think to me, hard reset time for sure. And he'll command a lot of stuff in return. He's his value.
Well, and the trade proposal was 2 number 1 picks plus Anthony Black, who's got a chance to be a good player. And so, I thought it was intriguing that, okay, this is one of the few teams that can absorb Trey and probably be better for it.
Yeah, well, looking at stuff to keep your eyes on, folks. We'll be back with training camp soon. Guys will head back into town in September, right after Labor Day, sometime around there. So
some guys will go earlier just to play pickup in August. Some guys are already going there. I'll be in LA soon, and I'm going to watch some teams play there in those pickup games. And then everyone except for the veterans or the Olympians, they'll all be in camp after Labor Day weekend, which is 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, and then it'll be time to go for another marathon NBA season. It's like the off season, especially when there's a summer tournament. Off season never seems like it's anything. I'm like, was there any off season this year? What's happening? Anyway, folks, we'll be back on Thursday. Have a great one.